Welcome everybody to the Watchlist, your virtual TV guide right here every Sunday on the Latin Nerds Network. Happy to be here again, joined by my co-host, who is always live from Houston, Big Bro himself, the ambassador of love. It's Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What's going on?
Hey, brother, happy Sunday.
It's Sunday. It's a busy week. It was a busy week because a lot of shows came out. We got some sci-fi, we got a little horror, some sci-fi action spy stuff, some comedy. Run the gambit across a lot of networks here, so that was pretty exciting. It's another big week in terms of number of releases coming up. At the end of the show, we'll go over everything that's coming out so you can set your very own watch list. It's another busy week next week.
We had to mention, man, we got surprise for season 3 of Mandalorian.
We did
Great.
a quick preview of Mando coming out for those who watch the book of Boba Fett. You know, you're lucky enough
As
to
you can
see the
see.
last episode. I'm not even getting into that. I took enough deep dive in nerd explaining, which you catch every Thursday. But that being said, this is the watch list, so we'll talk about these shows. A lot of stuff to get into here. A big week, so very excited. But I do gotta mention to Mother Nature, remind her that I live in Florida, Miami's little North Miami. What the fuck's up with this weather? It's like 40 degrees outside. This is unacceptable. Putting my foot down, damn it. I didn't come down
It's
here.
a, it's a sad day when you wake up and it's cold there in your house and it's outside my
That's what I'm
house.
saying. Hello, Florida. Whatever. It is what it is. It just makes me stay at home and bundle up on the couch and watch a lot of stuff I've been trying to watch. I caught a little bit of everything to kind of catch up and give you guys our opinion on this. So, Chewy, let's get started. Big week. So, and I want to start with the bad. Let's get the bad out of the way. At least what I thought was really bad. I'm kind of curious to think if you agree with me or
Uh-oh.
not.
Here we go.
So the first show I'm going to talk about here, this is on Netflix. It dropped on Thursday, an Italian show called Framed, a Sicilian Murder Mystery, where a couple of idiots, find themselves in a position where they find a dead body and they're trying desperately to be sure that it
Excuse.
doesn't get pinned on them. Hilarity or supposedly hilarity is supposed to ensue thereafter. And listen, yeah, I saw 2 episodes, and I'm surprised I stuck around for the two. It was only 30 minutes long. It's probably why I stuck around for two, so maybe things get better. And this show is terrible. No wonder it's 40 degrees outside, because I mean, it's hell is frozen over. This show's terrible. It's God. These two guys are the stupidest people in the world. One of the guys, the curly hair, is overacting, hamming it up. It's silly and dopey. Not, it just doesn't. All these the stories, just they try to tie all these things with the wife and the mob. It just nothing works here. It's just a total waste
What a
of time.
mess.
Yeah, Chewy, it seems like you agree with me on this one.
It's a hot mess and it's time to skip.
Yeah, the big time skip. But I mean, Italian shows don't come out very often, and there's one I think we talked about last week. We kind of liked. I forget the name of the
Mhm.
show. But yeah, this is no go. If you see this, please just remove off the list. Don't ever watch this. It's not good. It's not funny. If it was funny and dopey, I can deal with. There's another show that's very silly in some way. We'll talk about later on, which I enjoyed. But this is a big negative, so stay away from it. Do not watch, please. Save yourself the time. I'll do a 30 minutes. It's probably too long for that show, to be honest with you. The next one here, and I want to not exactly talk about the episode, Chewy, but just talk about the show in general, because I don't want to spoil
Mhm.
anything. Is season 3, of course, premieres Snowpiercer on TNT this past Monday.
Mm. Mm.
So I just want to talk
Well,
about
we can spoil a little bit
a
because
little
it's
bit.
only
I want
one
to talk about the show. I
episode.
don't know if the show's being watched a lot. I'm not sure, but I think the show I want to kind of explain why people should be watching. I think we're on the same page where people should be watching it. And for those that know,
Mhm.
Snowpiercer it's based off a movie. I forget what I don't want to mispronounce the name of the director, Korean director who gave us things like The Host, and Parasite, which won the Oscar a couple years ago, which is a really really good movie. But this one's just a post-apocalyptic kind of vibe to it. And, the second coming of the Ice Age, if you will, right? The world's
Mhm.
frozen over, and the only survivors are humanity are on this train which circles the world and sustains and has energy to sustain itself and sustain life. And it basically breaks down to a story of the has and the have-nots, right? It's a battle of the class, right? You got the poor class and the very tail end of the train, and you got the first class living it up, and obviously there's a discontent there, and they're trying to revolt it and so forth and so forth. Very good film starring Chris Evans, Ed Harris, Tilda Swinton. So very good movie. I really love that movie. So when I heard they're making the show, I'm like, I don't see how to make this premise.
You were like, yeah, no, I remember 2 years ago. You were like,
I just had no interest, and I love the movie, but I'm like, I don't see this concept lending itself to a series, maybe a season, like a limited series. I could definitely see that. And the first season is kind of what I expected, right, in a good way. But and it's TNT, dude. TNT sucks. I had no faith, but you were there from the beginning, and you've been championing the show, and I finally got to catch a chance to catch up, and now here we are, season 3, and like this is a really good show. Troy, I give little forward to you. Why should people be watching this, man?
I mean, it's been watching because it's good drama, man. I mean, there's compelling story, right? The survival of humanity. They're giving us backstory. There's great action. There's great acting. We got Sean Bean
Sean Bean, yes.
and a number of other characters that have good performances. It's one of these shows that just you start watching and you want to see what happens next, right? And obviously they're taking directions way beyond the movie, right? Where the movie is just about the one train
Yeah,
and the guys in the tail trying to take what they call the tailies,
right.
trying to get a better piece of the pie, right?
Which was what
But in
the
this
movie
one,
was about, and the first season focused
yes,
on that, right?
exactly.
But then I don't want to spoil it, but they introduced something along with Sean Bean in episode 2, like, or the end of season 1, like, season
Season
2,
two,
right? Like,
yeah.
this is how you take the show to a different direction, right? That the movie
Yes,
didn't
yes.
introduce.
You
Yeah,
get that not only internal antagonist versus protagonist, but now you have an external antagonist and a conflict of bringing these two groups together, right, and trying to merge them and splitting up. So there's that play, and look, it's a fun watch. It's a good watch. It's there's just something about it. It's like, oh, you want to keep watching, and I don't know what it is, but it's just because that story kind of brings you in, and you want to see it to the end.
yeah, absolutely. Snowpiercer, 1,039 cars long, or whatever the case is, or the numbers change every season.
Yeah, it changes after
Right. For those
every season.
who've
Looks
seen
like.
the show, you know what we're talking about. But season 3
Mm-hmm.
picked up where season 2 left off. I think 6 months. That little time jump, 6 months, and it's really good.
6 months,
Yeah, but it's
yes.
not talked about because like I won't just talk about the show. You guys should be watching it. Again, it's on TNT. It's streamed. It comes out every Monday on demand. You can watch it.
Monday
But
nights.
the
Yep.
first 2 seasons are on HBO Max. So if you have HBO Max, you can binge the
Yes.
first 2 seasons, and then you can go back and watch the third one. So I think it's worth it. It's really good. I was wrong about this coming in. It is what it is. I watched it. I got hooked on it.
Yeah, man, you're wrong sometimes. There
Every
you
so
go.
often, twice a year,
Man
like a
up.
clock. It's the opposite of a clock. Twice a year, I'm wrong. This was one of them. So, yeah, it's a good show. It's definitely a good watch. If you like sci-fi, definitely recommend it. The next one, Chewy. This is one that I was really excited about. I'm not sure if you saw it or not. You can tell me in a minute. But that's on Netflix, and that All of Us Are Dead. It's a new Korean show, a zombie show in the vein of like a hashtag Alive, which is really cool. No Korean zombie show, Kingdom, which we both really liked, and
Period
yeah,
piece.
Black Summer, another great zombie show on Netflix as well. So this one, I was looking forward to it.
I did watch. I did
You
watch.
did watch it,
I did
okay?
because frame was so bad. I was like, okay, I gotta fill in with something. I have to. You have that appetizer, and he's like, no, send it back. Give me something else, please. I went off the menu. I was like, okay,
They
let's try this course out.
Okay, there you go. That was at least in my opinion, a wise decision because I really liked what I saw. It's just a good, fun zombie. This is a zombie show should be like, right? They're not reinventing the wheel, right? Most zombie shows pretty much do the same thing. I do like when they take a different, course, a different narrative, like with Kingdom, right? Putting in an era where you don't really see zombies, right? Or Black Summer decided to do this more visceral, short, kind of different narrative, kind of touch to it.
POV type of storytelling.
Exactly. So it's a nice little touch. And that's all you can really do with this stuff. This one in the same vein is the zombies are. This isn't Walking Dead. Zombies are fast. They're attacking. They're
Mm-hmm.
incredibly difficult to get rid of. And it's so chaotic. Particularly that the first episode was good, right? It was a good setup. Second episode is balls to the wall, man. It's like total mayhem when the outbreak finally begins. And the whole point is this private school. These kids are there, obviously, and that's really ground zero.
But what I like is you actually get to see, in that first episode how this started. I mean, well, 90%, right? There's this one science teacher, and I think it's his son,
Right, his son was-
and they open up with he's getting his ass kicked. But in that,
He's being
you
bullied.
kind of see, yeah, he's been bullied, but we saw clearly you're getting his ass kicked, right? And you see something like come out of him as they're thinking like he's half morphing into a zombie and going back to human and goes thrown out the roof. Still survives. Obviously, he's got some virus in him, and there's patient zero, and it goes from there.
Right, and they actually kind of get into it. I'm not sure how many. I've seen 4 episodes on the train. How many?
I just seen one.
Okay,
I just seen one.
so they do
episode.
actually, talk about how it actually, or the origin of the zombie, or the virus that's created and stuff. So which is kind of cool. You don't always see that in zombie shows, right? They just You take it for what it is, right? The zombies, and that's all there is to
Yeah.
it. Some shows do, it's very
But
rare.
here they
This one
start
does.
with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another student gets bit by a rat. So I guess maybe it was came from the rat or something.
No,
But
it's a little
then
more. It's a little more than
she
that. Yeah,
bites.
it's a little more than that.
Yeah,
So,
well, but I mean, what I see in the first
oh,
episode, right?
correct.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she bites, and I obviously don't know what's going on. She scratches a nurse, and then at the school, that's basically how it starts at school. But then obviously the students transport to the hospital, and you obviously kind of see how this can get out of control real quick, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And yeah.
Just like with any pandemic, any virus, you don't know where it starts, but once it starts, until you realize what's going on, it starts spread like wildfire
Yeah, and
until you
it's
get
almost
under
like too
control.
late, right? And they do focus some stuff on the
Yeah.
outside, but the main priority is the school, right? This is ground zero, right? Essentially. And dude, what do you see a second episode? Second episode, the first episode, okay, all right. The second episode,
The first episode
it's good.
was I mean,
It's
everyone's
good.
just panicking, right? Everyone's just going crazy at least at the
At
end.
the
Like,
end,
you get all
right?
the
Season
setup.
two picks up like that and takes it to a new level. I mean, the way that the camera movements, the shot is great. The action, you can see what's going on, and it's absolute just mayhem. It's really
Now,
cool.
I will say I'm doing this stuff because this is something about there's I will watch the subtitles, but it's got to be a certain show that's for me it's worthy watching.
Sure.
So when there's so much action on the screen, I just can't. I have
No,
to
listen,
dub
I
it
get it.
because
Yeah, I listen.
I can't read and see. I want to see. I don't want to read.
I
Not
understand.
there's anything wrong with that. Kingdom, I'll watch subtitle
Right.
because it's a little different. You can savor that as you're reading the scene.
Sure.
It's not like where it's bam 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 action. You gotta you like this, like this, like that.
Because Kingdom, the story is
Yeah.
more about the zombie.
Not
The
about
zombies in the background, right?
but
The
not.
zombies in the background.
Yes.
This show is about the zombies. So I get it, but trust me, you watch the second episode, they don't talk a lot because they're just running or screaming or whatever. It's just happening all over the fucking place.
You don't need subtitles for that.
Yeah, you don't need, and they shot really well. Some really cool shots in there, and I said in third and fourth episodes. My only concern about this show, and it's a concern because it's 12 episodes long, which is unusual. So I'm concerned. I don't know how they can carry 12 episodes, or things start getting kind of numb, right, as you get towards the last few. Like, okay, I get it, zombies, and this and that. So that concerns me. But I'll probably finish it this week, maybe, and then I'll touch back on it. But so far, must watch it. If you like zombie stuff, absolutely, it's so cool. This is my favorite show out of the week this week, and there's some good stuff this week, but this was number one on my list for sure. So definitely high recommend on my part. The next one, let's stay with Netflix, and this is an interesting one. It's called In From the Cold, and I'm really curious to see what you think on this one, Chewy. So let me set it up here, and I'll let you take lead here. So basically, In From the Cold, it's a spy espionage, right? It's Black Widow. We have this woman who presumably didn't have a child. She's living a normal life, getting divorced. She's a happy-go-lucky housewife, right? They're I think her daughter's like a skater or something down in Madrid or whatever in a competition. And she gets tapped by the CIA, and they accuse her of being someone called the Whisperer, who is like this badass assassin, and for a Russian assassin, Russian spy. She denies it, of course, and she's put in a position to defend herself, and realize that she knew who she was, and she was the spy. Now they kind of forced her to come back and work for them to solve this mystery behind this kind of mind control kind of thing, or whatever the case is. And there we go. So Chewy, I don't know how many you've seen. I've seen 3. What'd you think about this one?
I've seen 3. It's okay. It's not. I mean, it's definitely not great, and
It's not.
it's middle of the road. I think. If
I'm with
the
you.
action is okay,
I'm with you.
the story's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. Obviously, developing a little bit, but it's not Black Widow. Obviously. It's not Born Identity.
Well, no, right. I mean, it's in that vein, but it's nothing like that, right? Of course not.
But it's got that element that I kind of mentioned. Like she's not a regular, she's not the super badass spy. There's something about her that is way a little bit beyond that.
Yeah,
but I won't spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it, but there's definitely a sci-fi element to this, which I was like,
yes.
I didn't know going into. I didn't know that was there. I didn't see the whole trailer, so I lived with the trailer, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's interesting about something that she's able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they kind of lean into it more, and they don't, but they do kind of. But she has another. I don't think you've seen 3 episodes. Yeah, I think it's another ability to at the end where they kind of hinted at that she can do. Interesting, but it's like, okay, she can do this, but they don't really explain why or how. She just does, right? And it's very kind of washed right over really quick, and it's like lean into it because that's what makes the show different, right? Unique is the fact that she can do a couple of those things, right? Rely on it more. I'm hoping they will down the road. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's again, as a spy thriller. It's
I say filler.
It's good. Yeah, it's good filler. It's
pop it in 8 episodes. Yeah,
8 episodes. Yeah, exactly. So this is you like the spy espionage genre. Yeah, fine. You just don't expect anything great. that little twist with that made it more interesting. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be watching the show, to be honest with you. But that does add a different element. It's like, okay, I kind of want to see what to do with that if they lean into it more. So it was fine at the end of the day. Not a terrible show, but whatever. I'm not really raving about like something with Oliver's Must Die. So, next one. This is on Apple Plus. This is one that caught my attention when it was mentioned when we talked about what's coming on. That is The After Party, a new Apple Plus comedy. They dropped the first 3 episodes of this one, of course.
From the creative minds of Lord and Miller, aka 21 Jump Street, the Lego Movie,
yes,
the pre-release solo movie.
The producers behind.
I still want to see. I want to see Lord and Miller.
I would love to see him in Lord and Miller cut. I really would. And they were behind the scenes of Spider-Verse and and all that. So
the Spider. Yeah, they were creating that. Right?
Exactly. So they got a good resume here. So I was excited.
They're very creative. They're definitely very creative. No comedy, no how to storytelling.
Exactly.
So they've earned the reputation.
No, absolutely. Which is why it kind of caught my attention. Like, and we have here basic premise. You got this is a 15-year reunion. I didn't know they have 15-year reunion. Usually it's 10, 20 years, whatever.
I thought it was 20.
I think it was 2006, class 2006, right? So it's about 15 years. So they go back to and then
there you go. They already added an odd wrinkle.
It is our wrinkle. It's like, and I heard 50. It's like 15-year reunion. Who does that? But whatever. Neither here nor there. Anyway. But yeah, so a couple of these people, they go to an after party. James Franco's in this, who I think is great. He's like Dave Franco. I'm sorry. Who's great. He's he's a star now, singer, actor, whatever. Terrible actor, terrible singer.
Hold on. We gotta.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna spoil something for you guys. It's only the episode, but I'm gonna spoil it. This is hilarious. So yeah, he's a famous actor and more probably entertainer because he sings, right. He acts and stuff.
He looks like Justin Bieber.
It's kind of like it kind of reminded me a little bit of early rock career as far as movie, like The Game Plan and the one where he's a tooth fairy. He does these odd movies and stuff. But there's this one scene and they're showing in the commercial that where the movie that he did, and there's a spoiler alert, a Channing Tatum cameo in this. Obviously, because 21 Jump Street with Lord Miller, so he got in for a few scenes. But it's a Hall & Oates biopic.
Hall & Oates. It's so random, but a fantastic. It's fantastic scene. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Because there's a scene where they're talking back and forth, and Tatum is just getting crazy because they can't find the head, and he throws up some lines like, "Say, I'll feel like this is gonna throw her and make you a man eater or something," and he's like, looks at him deadpan. Wait, say that line again.
Man eater, exactly. The origins of the song. Yeah, I mean that was such an amazingly ridiculous scene. But so Dave Franco in this character, I think Xavier's his name, right? It goes by one name. He throws an after party for some of his friends in high school, and then Dave Franco's character is killed, right? So now enter Tiffany Haddish, who's the lead detective. Well, she assumes lead detective on this. I love Tiffany Haddish; she's great. And then she's interviewing everybody, trying to find out. She has got one night before another detective is called in to take over to solve the case. So now she's interviewing everybody, and there's a premise, and I like this one.
Well, hold on. The premise is each episode. So like I said, I told you.
Just the idea of the story, right? It's a whodunit, right?
But each episode is told from the interviews is told from the perspective of each one of the guests at the party, right? And so the events so he tells his version of events and what he did. Now his next episode, we bring in the next guy to bring in, and so he starts, but it's everything's done through a little bit of their flavor, right, of their hiccups and their issues. And you start seeing the bigger picture, right? As the end result is who did it.
Right, and everyone's perspective is always a little bit different. Everyone tells a story in a certain way. What I like about it is when they do start telling the story that's being interviewed by Tiffany Haddish, the detective, they each, because she mentions a line about everybody has their own movie in their mind, right? That's Tiffany Haddish's line. Like everyone has their own movie in their mind, so they're going to create it a certain way. So the very first quick interview is by someone who's, this artist, highbrow, so just kind of this independent feel. So as she's going through the story, recanting it, and they're showing the flashback, it's black and white, very artistic looking.
Very noir.
Yeah, very noir. The other guy, he's obviously a hopeless romantic, so his plays out like a romantic comedy.
Like
the other guy's like a musical, and I'm the guy.
The bread guy is like the action guy.
Yeah, so it's like Fast and the Furious.
The fast.
Yes, and the movies and the scenes are shot like those kind of films that you see at Fast and Furious, right? It's very creatively told. And I really like that aspect. Now, it's just hilariously funny. No. It's just not only murders in the building in terms of the quality, but it's good, man. I enjoyed it. It's fun. Some great moments. Like,
It's a fun watch.
yeah, it's a great bathroom scene. I don't want to spoil it, but a great bathroom scene with Dave Franco and one of the other guys.
In episode
Yeah,
two,
yeah, ridiculous, ridiculous.
ridiculous, over the top, but
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but
there's some truth to that.
but it's funny.
There's some
Yeah,
truth.
it really is. Yeah, it's exaggeration, but it's. I was laughing. I was like, oh, man, this is so. I love it. And it's this moments like that throughout the show. There's one of the guys just has a musical, and it's a song, a rap song where it's you only get one chance of life twice. It's just very so odd. It's very funny with the way they sing it. It's great. And they even mentioned had a great reference to Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future, which I thought was hilarious. So yeah, it's
that's right.
yeah.
So people don't know. Eric Stoltz was actually the original actor who was pegged to do Back to the Future, we know it because we saw the movies that made us, and so they talked about Back to the Future, and then I was like, oh crap, I had no idea. So
yeah, he was replaced by, of course, Michael J. Fox inevitably. So yeah, so good show, good watch. I mean, very entertaining. About 40-some minutes long an episode, but it keeps you engaged.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
it's not slap your knee funny, but it has its moments, and again, the way it's told is creative, and I enjoyed it. It's a good watch. I recommend this one on Apple Plus.
It's a weekly drop, so they got three another for one each.
Right,
For the next
every Friday
seven
she'll
weeks.
drop the next episode, but it was good. It's entertaining. I liked it a lot. This next one here, I don't think this is the last one. I don't think you saw this, Chewy. This one I didn't even have on my radar till after we actually did the show. It's called Feria, The Darkest Light. It's a Spanish.
No, I have another show. I knew about this one, I just wasn't interested.
Yeah, it was built kind of like a horror thing, a horror kind of show. Guess what it was built like? So I'm all in with that. But Feria, it's a Spanish show. Spanish usually, as far as the foreign stuff, aside from Korean, Spanish is the next one on the list, right? In terms of quality that we've seen in the past. And this was about basically it takes place in 1996, some of that. So it goes back a little bit, and it's two teenage girls who they go on one night partying, and they come back. Their parents are missing. The cops come in and tell them that hey, now the parents are now linked to this mass suicide murders of 23 people that happened in some mine nearby, and the parents are linked to it. The parents are missing. The whole town thinks that they killed them, and then one of the girls is trying to desperately find out what's going on, right? So that's the premise. And eventually she starts discovering this cult supernatural stuff's going on. And I'm talking about supernatural, like some really creatures and spirits and whatever, a lot of stuff going on thrown in here. Now, that being said, it sounds like a horror thing. It's not a horror show. In my opinion, it's not. It's a mystery thriller with some horror elements to it, slow burn. But it's actually very interesting, though. I actually kind of liked it. The mystery is kind of unfolding, and every show you're getting something more and more like, okay, what's going on? A lot of afterlife stuff being explained here through this cult or whatever that her mom may or may not have been involved in, who now the daughter's jumped right in because she's desperate to find her mother. So I like this one. It's a good show. I like it. Feria is the name of the town. It's Spanish. It's a little small, 2,000 people more or less. So it's a very small community. So everyone's up in arms. What's going on? All the people start dying, and now people start freaking out because what the hell's going on in this town, which nothing ever happens, of course. So it's a good mystery. A good kind of police procedural / reminded me in the same vein of Archive 81, which we like. That turns into the storytelling and the slow pace of it, very moody and all that. So I'm enjoying it. I think it's one I'm recommending. If you're into that stuff, again, Spanish show, you can watch subtitles too because you don't have to see anything visually. But it's good. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm recommending this one to those who are into that kind of thing. It's just not a horror show, so I wouldn't. If that's what you want, this is not it. But like good mystery, a good solid show, good filler. Go ahead, particularly if it's in your wheelhouse. But again, this week there was so much. Again, they got like comedies out there, like actions out there. Obviously mysteries, horror that's out there. So a big week this week. So. But that's where we go, man. So not a bad week of TV, man. It actually was a pretty good week. I was kind of happy.
There was one more that was also off the radar. Well,
which one?
I was curious if you'd seen it. Two shows. One was Chosen, which is a Danish sci-fi show. I'm not sure if you caught that. And I didn't catch it.
I didn't catch
some
it.
things, but I was just like,
yeah, I didn't get a chance.
I was like, I have so much on my plate.
Yeah,
I just couldn't. Yeah,
it's only
so
much I could watch.
I started watching the All of Us Are Dead. I was like, okay, it's that or Chosen. Okay, I'm going zombies. So,
that was the right choice.
Yeah,
no doubt. I mean,
and then I know what I just started watching. So that's why I filled in with another show. It's called As We See It. It's on Amazon. Dropped on Amazon Prime on Friday. It's a drama, a little bit of comedy, but it centers around three folks, adults now really, that are on the autistic spectrum, and so they're living together. And they have someone who kind of takes care of them, kind of helping them walk through day-to-day life. But you see three different, I guess, individuals who are on different ends of it, right? One who is cannot, is afraid of external stimuli, right? So he stays in his apartment all the time. They live together, right? One who has a job but is trying to find love but has no filter and doesn't know how to go about doing that. He's trying to Tinder and bump on all these other things. And one who is, I guess, synonymous with the Sheldon character from Big Bang Theory, right? Thinks he's the smartest guy in the room and says things to that effect, right? And so you get three different people who are on various ends of the spectrum living together, being coached by and helping them kind of to adjust to being on their own and being, living in society. Of course, you have to be flexible and you have to bend to it. It's not going to bend too towards you. It's got heart. It's got some moments. It's fun. It's a good watch. Honestly, it's only half-hour episodes. So
That's on Amazon. What's the name again on Amazon?
As We See It.
As We See It.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I probably will get time to check it out because this week is a big week. It's coming up. A lot of shows, but I'm going to be watching all the shows that are going to be released this week. I'm telling you right now because I know there's one show which I have no interest in, which you're going to watch, and we'll talk about next week, but I have no desire. That being said, let's get to that. Of course, setting up what's for next week.
You felt that way about Snowpiercer at one point. So
well, I did, but that's before watching Snowpiercer. I actually watched this show and I did not like it. So they're different. So one was a preemptive strike and I was wrong, but the other one, the other one I gave it a shot and it just wasn't for me. So let's get to it. A lot of stuff. We got six shows, right? The first one, Raising Dion, on Netflix comes out on the 1st. Season two. Yeah, season 2. I don't think season 1 was too popular. I enjoyed it. Was fine. I enjoyed it. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'm not sure if I will watch this season or not.
I will.
You may, yeah. So I'll ask you about it. Yeah, it's in the superhero genre and all that. So we'll talk more in detail about that next week. So I think you will be watching it. I may or may not. So I don't know, but we'll bring it up next week if you want to get more details on it. But that comes out on the 1st. On the 2nd, we got something on Hulu. We don't say that very often, and that is, of course, Pam and Tommy, the notorious couple. Of course, we all know the story behind, what happened with them with the sex tape back in the 90s, which really was very influential in how, the internet was used back then. It continues to be, right? This warriorship stuff that started with that, right? So, interesting story. It's a series. I thought it was going to be a movie, but it's actually a series. So
No, it's a series with Sebastian Stan, a.k.a. the Winter Soldier, who plays Tommy Lee.
Lily James as Pam.
Motley Crue.
Lily James, who looks nothing like she normally looks. Great makeup job, by the way, on them. Seth Rogen's in this. I forgot the other guy from Parks and Rec. Either way, really good cast. Looking forward to see what kind of angle they take on it. So I'm kind of curious what they do with it. I'll be watching that one. There we go. HBO, and I put HBA Max. It should be HBO Max. Let me fix that real quick.
The new channel you got to get?
It's a new channel, HBA Max. So we got HBO Max on the 3rd. So 3 shows sequentially here, and that's Raised by Wolves season 2, which of course is Ridley Scott production. Which I couldn't. I hated this show. I really did. I tried. I think I watched 4 episodes. I usually give it 3. I gave it 4 just because it's Ridley Scott.
Man. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I didn't like it, and then as I sat on it, it stewed in there with little spices. All of a sudden, it came up with hate. I didn't like it. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. I know you.
That's fine, dude. I'll keep on.
Yeah, you're gonna watch it. We'll talk. I'll have you talk about it. Maybe season 2. It's vastly improved. I don't know. Some people do like the show. I don't understand this is a bad show at all. I think it is, but I don't think I can see people liking it, and I get it. But yeah, we'll talk more about that next week. That's on the 3rd. And the last 3, we got an interesting one here. This one, didn't know about this. On the 3rd as well, we got Murderville on Netflix. This is kind of a comedy, a murder comedy. I think it's partly improvised or something along those lines. I don't know.
Well, so this is starring Will Arnett, obviously, a.k.a. the Batman and from the Lego game show.
Ken Jeong, of course, from Hangover and all that.
Ken Jeong. Well, see, this thing. Every episode has a different guest star.
Yes, yeah.
And so half the show is scripted. So all the Will Arnett stuff is scripted as far as the situations and the dialogue and the setup. The guest actor they bring in is completely 100% improvised. So he's playing off the Will Arnett dialogue and situation, and you kind of go from there. And so I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to turn out. It could be a train wreck, or it could be just utter laughter, right? Depending on who they're playing off.
Right. I can see some episodes being better than others, but this is fascinating, right? I think Marshawn Lynch is one of them, which, okay.
Marshawn Lynch is one of them.
I don't see him being like an improv kind of guy, but maybe he's met surprises. But
who knows? The last time we saw him, or maybe the only time we saw him as far as acting, was he had a cameo role in Westworld season 3. He was one of the, I guess, bounty hunters. Yeah. and he had that shirt that showed emotion or colored his emotion. He was pretty funny actually,
He was fun. I mean,
but it wasn't
it
improvised.
wasn't
It
improvised,
wasn't
right? Yeah, this
improvised.
improvisation is a total new ball game, right?
Yeah.
It takes a certain skill to do
I
that,
mean,
you know.
let me do it this way. His press conferences were
Oh,
gold
they were. Listen,
sometimes.
they were, and he's got that something about him, the charisma. He's unique. But
Mm.
again, improvisation is not an easy thing to accomplish, right? King Jong is known
Yeah.
for that, so I can see him doing great with that, right? He was in a couple, at least one episode of The Office where he was in an improv class and he was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so looking forward. I'm very curious about that one. I'm looking forward to that one. Another one, Apple Plus on the 4th, is Suspicion. One starring, I believe, Uma Thurman. I guess
Doing
a
whatever,
couple of
that's
kids go
correct.
missing, and there's a couple of suspects that are being whatever that I
Mm-hmm.
guess are involved in looking into. It's almost like I don't know, I say a murder mystery, but more like a drama kind of thriller kind of thing. I didn't see much of the
Yeah.
trailer.
Drama mystery, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm curious about that. You know, at least it'll be produced well. It's Apple Plus, and Apple Plus has given us good shows, no doubt about it. And the last one on the 4th, so thank God his Let Heroes spread out gives me time to watch it one night and before jumping on the other. It's Amazon Prime. That's Preacher, of course, based off the novels. There was a movie.
Reacher,
No,
not
Preacher.
preachers.
Reacher. I'm sorry. Sorry, Reacher. Preacher.
Preacher is a different show on
Different
AMC.
show on
Preacher's
AMC.
that
Another
no.
cool show, by the way. But either way, Reacher, based off the course of novels, it's like a spy.
Jack
Yeah, Jack
Reacher,
Reacher,
yes.
spy novel.
The movies,
Yeah,
yeah.
not Tom Cruise's best work, best films. Part one, part two, or
I like that first
The
one,
first
even
one
though
was,
he was
was
miscast.
solid.
But yeah.
Second was whatever. It was whatever, but it wasn't. They weren't great, right? Then an upper echelon Tom Cruise. I love you some Tom Cruise.
Mm.
But that we got, of course, the main characters. A guy who did a Hawk from Hawk and Dove from the Titans, of course.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right. So I think he better fits the physicality of the character as described in the novel,
right. So, yeah, because
right?
Tom Cruise is
Where
smaller.
Tom Cruise was too
He's a
small,
small guy.
or
Yeah,
well,
he is.
physically he's small, but in the movie you can make anyone look larger
Right,
than
but he's
life,
still in
and you can.
stature, not a big. Tom Cruise is
Yeah,
not a big guy. Listen, he's fit.
yeah.
I get it. We,
No,
we wish he
this
could look
guy,
like
the
Tom Cruise,
Aquaman.
but yeah,
Yeah, you said Hawk. I know him from Aquaman back from
yeah,
Smallville
Smallville.
days,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
even before that. But he actually grew and is like a Hawk. I mean, he was just ripped.
Oh, he's
Like I
listen.
just a beast.
This is
Yeah,
kudos.
he's 6 foot plus.
Yeah,
He's a big
he's
guy.
chiseled.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
carries.
this
Yes.
guy's
So, but let's see how he does in this role because I'm not sure.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not, can he carry this like John Cena? I have questions about him. He's carrying Peacemaker, great show on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope he can do that
But
because
see,
we haven't seen him
Peacemaker
carry a show.
is meant to be a comedy, right? I mean, honestly, it's a comedy. Let's be
Obviously,
honest.
right?
It's a superhero, but it's a
Yeah,
comedy. Reacher is not supposed to be a comedy,
no.
so let's not that this guy's a comedian, but let's see how this
I
plays
am
out.
curious because physically he's like Jason Momoa. He's the Rock. He's in that vein, right?
Mm.
Big, strong, chiseled guy. Kudos to them. Jealous as hell, right? We all wish we can be these guys. Let's keep
Yeah,
it real,
and
you know.
he was actually pretty
No,
funny,
he's
man.
he's
Like
good. He's very
in
charismatic.
Titans,
Yeah.
he had this funny line, and so he portrayed that character very
Yeah,
well.
I agree. So
Right.
he's got the look. He can do some. So I'm curious about the show. I'm watching. I mean, again, it's an action spy. You know, he's like a spy, not spy, whatever he is, like a spy, whatever
Mm.
action genre. So
He's an action, yeah,
yeah,
former
yeah,
military police, got kicked out or left. I can't remember what the
yeah. I
story
forget
is.
him, but
But he's obviously he's a tough guy, big guy, and maybe trying to unsolve a mystery or help the little guy out, right?
right,
In some ways,
exactly.
not that someone's getting mistreated by the law or by justice, and that's
Right,
where he
and
comes in.
insert reach and let him take care of business. So I hope it's like I said, we've seen things like what's the name, John Krasinski, Jack Ryan, right?
Oh, Jack
Yeah,
Ryan,
something like
yes.
that, or even Hannah. So they've done good in this kind of genre, which I think are better shows than something like In from the Cold, right? I think those are done better than In from the Cold.
Oh, way
Yeah, way
better,
better.
way
I,
better.
guess, I don't, and
Yeah,
I don't want
without
to, I don't
doubt.
want to shit in from the cold. It's solid, but it's not great. Just the idea of the premise is what really kind of hooked me in. But let's see. So that one's interesting. So look, 6 shows, big shows. I listen. I won't be kind of raising Dion. I'm on the fence on that. That is a bad show. Just I don't know. It's a lot of stuff to watch. I need to catch up on. Let's be honest, but I'm sure you're gonna watch it. And of course, on Raised by Wolves, you're on your own with that one. But I'm sure Chewy will give an in-depth analysis of whether you should keep watching or not. I'm out. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
I'll watch
okay.
Marshawn Lynch attempt improvisation all day long.
There you go.
But
There
that
you
being
go.
said, so big week, very excited. So thank God I'm more spread out, so I get better chance to watch some of these with more calm. That being said, we appreciate it. Of course, always join us every week. People always ask, what should I watch? What should I watch? This is what the show's about. We'll let you know what is out there for you to watch and recommend and what's coming out. So again, tune in every Sunday. We'll drop it around 11, 12 in the afternoon. Subscribe, like, etc. We appreciate it. See you guys next time.
Peace.